Hey everyone, I'm Pacific the Casual Gamer, and welcome back to another video. This one is about Rainbow Six Siege anchors, and what exactly do anchors do? What are the basics of anchoring in Rainbow Six Siege? So to get started, a lot of people think that someone like a rook has to be an anchor. That's not entirely the case. There's cases where a lot of the time, sometimes people will send out rooks to roam and stuff like that. So an anchor is more of a playstyle rather than an operator choice. Okay, so when you're playing an anchor, normally your goal is to hold down either the site or a location really close to the site. And when you anchor, it's more about the angles rather than, you're running around as a roamer trying to waste time. A great example is if you're holding an angle and you're anchoring, you're the last line of defense. There's no place to run, right? You are the site. If you're holding an angle and someone sees that you're holding an angle, it's probably the best choice to move or switch your angle a little bit, because people can then pre-fire that angle and you're going to get shot because they know exactly where your head is, right? So holding angles as an anchor is like one of the worst things that you can ever do. Another kind of important thing as an anchor is you need to be able to play vertically, because a lot of the times if you have a good team and it's the right site, they're going to bring something like a buck or a sledge and maybe hit the ceiling, or they're going to shoot the floor, and you have to be able to play vertically, right? So if you don't know how to play vertically, what I would recommend to get better at being an anchor is when you're on attack, bring the buck or the sledge and force yourself to play vertically. That way, if someone does play vertically on you, you at least have a fighting chance, right? Now, with that being said, since you are the last line of defense, it's really important that you're able to get on cams and give a lot of callouts. A lot of rookie anchors will just sit and hold an angle for 2 minutes and nothing will happen, right? Or they'll sit and hide somewhere. That's not what you need to do. It's very important to pull up your cameras, give callouts, do all the support work that needs to be done. You're basically the support player until someone on your team dies. Then you don't necessarily have to be the support player, unless you need 2 people on cams and there's one guy dead and you're the other guy, So it's very important that you learn your callouts and probably be able to do a little bit of IGLing. Even if you're not the IGL, since you're in the back, you're not in the gunfights, you're going to be more, it's going to be easy for you to take in all the information, figure out where the enemies are. And what I like to do as an anchor is I like to figure out where the enemies are attacking from and where their focus is, right? So a lot of times when I play on Cafe Top Floor, I am either an anchor or somewhere close to site anchoring, and I have some time to get on cams and figure out, okay, in Cafe, are they attacking piano side? Are they doing skylight? Or are they doing the cocktail side? I'll figure out which side they're at. And then it helps the roamers figure out, okay, this is where I need to go to waste a bunch of time. Now back to the cams thing a little bit. Let's say you're playing as Valk. Just because you're playing a Valk or even a Maestro doesn't mean that you have to be the person that's on cams, right? Especially Valk. If you throw your Valk cams wherever, anyone can get on the cams. So if Valk wants to roam, that's fine. Then the anchor can get on the Valk cams. If Valk wants to get on her own Valk cams, it's fine. So just remember that even if there's something like a Valk and they throw their Valk cams, you're still allowed to get on those cameras. Now, another important thing is if you are going to anchor, try to pick someone whose life is going to be important later on in the round. A great example of this is Smoke. Smoke is really important late round because he can deny plants, but you have to be alive to use the smoke canisters, right? Another common anchor is Maestro, because you can move the Maestro cams and laser beam people. Or Echo, you can use Echo's yokai drone to deny plants or just move them or whatever. So that's why you see a lot of those three operators anchoring a lot. Even Wamai is a great anchor too, because you have to kind of play your life a little bit with Wamai to get out a bunch of discs. Generally speaking, also, the anchor defenders are going to be the ones with the longer range weapons. So like the 1.5 scopes, and even if you pick up Rook with the 2x scope, those kinds of operators are going to be the ones anchoring. I mean, even Vigil with a Boss G might anchor. And basically the last part about being an anchor that you need to get used to is being able to fight while everyone knows your position. A lot of times if you're anchoring, you're the last line of defense, and the enemies are going to know roughly where your position is. Maybe not exactly what angle you're holding, but they'll know most of the time what room you're at. So you have to be able to take on gunfights where you already have guns pointed at you, and they already know what operator you are, what weapon setup you have. And it's really important that you get used to fighting in those kinds of gunfights rather than something like when you play a cav and you go hide in a corner and no one knows where you are. And honestly, that's it for being an anchor. It's a lot more complicated than a lot of people think. You don't just sit in sight, hold an angle for 2 minutes and get a kill off of it when someone runs by. You know, there's a lot of work that goes into micromanaging your angles, being able to shoot people vertically, getting on cams, giving call outs, being able to IGL and say, hey, I got 2 roamers on this side of the map. They need to come back to the other side because that's where all 5 enemies are, you know? So, guys, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, let me know in the comments below. I'm Pacific the Casual Gamer. I suck just as bad as you do at video games, and I'll see you guys in the next one.